Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Want to just note, this morning is the 28th year that we have joined together in person to honor youth sports volunteers in Cambridge. 28 years in this hotel. So thank you all for keeping this going. It's such an important event. We, Whitey and I, Louie, Laura, we talked about the importance of coaches in our lives and how have we really honored them appropriately. We had the first one, 1997, and we really didn't know if anyone would show up and how it would go, and it was fabulous, just like today will be. Thank you to all the coaches in the room, the league presidents. The first thing I want to do is have a moment of silence recognizing past honorees that have passed away. So if you could, just bow your heads, and I want everyone to, we all are familiar with some of the honorees that we've lost, so feel free to keep them in your hearts and prayers right now. I want to call out Paul Ryder, Mike Brennan, and Bill Hill, and I'm sure you can think of others, so if we could have a moment of silence for those folks now. As we start the breakfast, I just want to recognize past honorees. Don't be shy. All past honorees, I want you to stand up so we can give you a round of applause. And now I'd like to introduce my good friend, former assistant to the mayor of Cambridge, Phaedra Butler, who's going to start our morning with the national anthem. Phaedra Butler. Oh, the land of the free and the brave. It is tradition to start this breakfast, and if you see the boards, and you should take a look, going back to 1997, all the pictures of all the breakfasts we've had. Tony V, I think, has been at every single one of them. This is the moment where you wonder, what's this guy doing here? Why do they have a comedian at 9:30 in the morning? And at the same time, he's wondering, why am I here at this breakfast again? Let's give it up to Mr. Tony V.
Wow, truer words were never spoken. I have no idea why I'm here. I have nothing inspirational to say. I don't usually get up this early, and I am amazed at what goes on at this time of the day. I saw people exercising. They were outside exercising at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's mental illness as far as I'm concerned. There's no need to get up before noon. None whatsoever. Nothing good ever happens in the morning. I also got to say this. As I age, and I am aging, I don't even know if I'm getting old right, because this is as old as I've ever been. Let me ask you this. I'll ask the old people this one. Anyone got the thing now when you start to sit down and the last 4 inches is free fall? Yeah, that's not a red letter day in a human's life. When you can't control your rate of sitting, you got troubles. I thank you for having me. Again, I don't know why, and don't lollygag. Thank you.
We all remember Paul Ryder. Paul Ryder was more than a supporter of the game. If you don't know the story, and a lot of you have been to our game, in 1994, during the baseball players' strike, there was no baseball going on. I'm on WEEI, being the typical barking, loudmouth talk guy, and I kept saying, well, screw Major League Baseball. If they don't want to play, let's just get a bunch of people and play a game on our own. And it was just a line. It was just something to say. Call in now, 617-262, whatever. And then a couple of people called and said, hey, if you had a game, I'd play in it. And I said, well, maybe we should have a game. Let's get a bunch of people. And there we go. Next caller is Paul from Cambridge, and it's Paul Ryder. And he introduces himself. I am Paul Ryder. recreation department, City of Cambridge. I'm thinking, like, is this Paul Coles? Because I'm trying to think of who, Henry Sullivan, because it's been so long since I dealt with the Parks and Rec department. Is it Bobby Goodwin? Is it Kevin Clark? And I don't know this guy. And he says, I was driving around and I was listening, and if you want to have a game, we have St. Peter's Field up in North Cambridge. I think you're familiar with it. And I'm like, oh, isn't that a softball field? No, it's a baseball field now. And it was a softball field. We kids, right? Barnyard. And Barnyard League. Tim Murphy, Marsh Post. And anyone know that name? Yeah, he was a god. Anyway, I digress. And and Paul Ryder says, if you want to have a game, we will make St. Peter's Field in Cambridge available. And then the phone lines lit up. Everyone's calling in, wants to play in this game. And then I got back on the phone with Paul. We had Paul come back on. And I said, you know what? We will have a game. We'll have it Thursday night. And maybe we'll get everybody to chip in. And maybe we could raise some money. You guys can buy soccer balls or basketball nets. And then Paul said, no. We actually had a tragedy in Cambridge. And some may have known Eddie Fitzmaurice from Antrim Street, who was killed in an accident. His children were in the car. And they were raising money for a fund for the two kids. And he said that over there. And then the next day, we had people call in to say, I'll pay $50 to play second base. I'll pay $100 if I can pitch one inning. And the next night, and it was raining all day. It was a terrible day in fall. And the crew from Danahy turned that place into a palace. And it was supposed to be a one-shot deal. And then Paul said, well, we can give you the field next year. And we've been doing it now for 30 years, all because Paul Ryder had the wherewithal driving through Cambridge, had an idea. And people always say, well, who came up with the game? It's so many different chefs are in the kitchen, but the chef who provided the kitchen was Paul Ryder. So rather than a moment of silence to Paul Ryder, I just would like to say, come out to St. Peter's Field, August 22nd. We're going to have a brief ceremony before the game. We're just going to mention Paul because we want the game to be a celebration. Thursday, August 22nd. And if you love Paul Ryder, just come on by and say hi. Thank you very much.
This person has become a friend of mine, and I've gotten to know his story by talking about sports and family. He grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire, got a scholarship to Lawrence Academy, where he lived away, tough experience. He's been a resource for us when we have students that I want him to talk to. Then he got a scholarship to Georgetown to play football. Now he is one of the most prominent folks in commercial real estate in the area. And he's a phenomenal, down-to-earth, humble guy. I wanted him to meet you today because Kelvin Moses, to me, is an absolute gem. Kelvin, come on up.
Pleasure to meet you all and happy to be here. I think it's exciting to be celebrating coaches, athletes, parents, all of what you've contributed, what you've done. My story's not that great. Galluccio did a great job making me sound really cool and special here, and that feels good. I feel like I should do some push-ups now, get pumped up. But maybe a little bit of background about me, where I came from, why sports matters, how it impacted my life might be helpful. You know, I think I've got 3 kids now, 7.5, 3.5, and 10 weeks old. And my kids don't really like sports, which, you know, hurts my heart a little bit. But everyone has their own path. But funny enough, when I was 7, 8 years old, I didn't like sports either. So you never know where things will take you. And, you know, I started off playing baseball. I'm a big boy. That wasn't a sport for me. I had a good arm, but I was just too big, a little too slow. When I connected with the ball, I did very well. But if I didn't, I was just a big man sitting in the way. And then I found basketball through the CYO League. Basketball was a sport that I loved. I was able to go train by myself. I was able to figure out how to, you know, perfect my craft the best that I could. And, you know, that taught me how to win. I started playing CYO League. We started winning. I'd go to the YMCA and beat up on old guys. And I felt like, okay, this is a sport that I can play. It also had a lot of starts and stops, and I was an asthmatic, so I could actually make it through a game. So that was important to me. I had a lot of conditioning to work through. And then I got to high school, I got to Lawrence Academy, and that opportunity was really, eye-opening. And it taught me a lot about team, and this is probably the most important thing I want to share with you guys today. I met a lot of students today, IMG, super athletes, going to great universities, play at such a high level. And, I had the opportunity to play with better athletes than me and become friends with those athletes. And I think coaches do a phenomenal job, but every team that I played on that was strong had zero to do with the coaching. I think the best thing that the coaches did were to ensure that the players, the teammates were friends, that they figured out a way to win together. They defined winning every day, and they played hard, they trained hard, they socialized together, and they cared about each other like brothers or sisters. I think that was critical. And coaches like Galluccio, I know that matters to you. So building friendships, building bonds, building connections for the long term makes the best teams. I still have the closest friends from high school today that I will call on for life issues. I will ask them the questions that I can't ask my spouse. I'll ask them the questions that I don't have a mentor to ask. And these are folks that will pick up my phone call anytime and guide me through life. I played on undefeated teams, and you know how that feels. It feels good to never lose. I played on an 0-for team where we didn't win a single game, and you know how that feels as well. But, I look back and I think about the difference between the teams that I was on at that time. We just didn't have the connection. My 0-for team actually was in college where we didn't win a single game. I went from high school dominating to get to college and losing every single game. Your heart is crushed, right? But we had, we didn't have leadership on the team. We had coaching, we didn't have leadership on the team. Our seniors would party all the time. They didn't train as hard as the young folks. They didn't set the tone. They didn't create that cohesion. So we were struggling. And then we had a group of young folks that came in. It wasn't even my class that really changed the game. We saw the young folks train together. They would study together. They would socialize together. They were always together. And our team got dramatically better because of that cohesion. So I want to encourage you all to, and life changes. You'll go and play in different teams. You'll go off to college. Keep those bonds, keep those connections. They'll help you through life, and make new ones, because, that's what winning is. Define winning every day. Winning is, waking up and training hard. That probably matters more than winning a game. Wake up, train, do it every day, do it twice a day, do it more than your peers, do it more than, your competition. So to me, that's, the most important thing I can share with you. I think also important to celebrate parents more than anything. I had a household with a single mom, and she did her best to put us in a private school, whatever she could do. She worked 2 jobs, 2.5 jobs, 1 job, 3 jobs, whatever it took. I had 2 older brothers that were by far better athletes than I was, but I followed them, I watched them, and I said, hey, I got to contribute somehow in my own way. And the parents that travel everywhere to bring their kids to sports, it's hard. I'm experiencing it now. I only go to Little League down the street, but I'm like, man, this is hard. And I every time I look at my mom and I'm like, how did you do this? And, it's a very, very difficult feat. So that support that parents give to their children, to their children's friends when they come over and eat all the food in your house, it's for a reason. And thank you all for that contribution. And then maybe the last thing I'll say is, how has sports impacted my life today? I use it every day. I work in commercial real estate here in Cambridge. There's a lot of faces in here that probably have experienced some of what our organization's done. And when I look at our team and I look at the opportunity to create something special, I think about it in the lens of sports. I think about, what's our contribution? Who's our team? That team expands all the time. Locally in a community, that team becomes the residents. That team becomes your commercial tenants. It becomes, your retail partners. On our team, internally, we hire athletes all day. My team is a bunch of athletes because I want folks that know how to lose. I want folks that know that we've got to win tomorrow. It's not about yesterday. You got to leave that behind. You got to win tomorrow. So we try very hard to translate a lot of what we, can't understand in the corporate world into a sports analogy so we can make sense of it. It's funny how many people understand sports but don't understand, basic human interactions in an office. Sports really helps. It really helps. And I think just like family, right? My oldest brother used to pick on me a lot. I didn't get to choose him. I know he loves me, but he used to pick on me a lot. And you learn how to manage through that, right? Similarly, when you're on a sports team, someone shows up, Galluccio brings a new player in, you didn't get to choose them. Now that's your teammate. You got to figure out how to integrate them. You got to figure out how to identify their best strengths, how to pull out the best out of them so that you can win. And that cohesion amongst players, that cohesion amongst peers, creating that connections, that's what allows you to win every day. So thank you, Anthony. Thank you all for letting me speak and share that. I think the fact that this has been going on for so many years is incredible. All of you are much better than I was when I was at your stage. So kudos to you, all the honor roll students. I was not an honor roll student. I got to Georgetown. I took advantage of that academic opportunity and I ran with it. I was not qualified to be there academically, but I was definitely qualified to take advantage of it. So, I think that's, kudos to each of you that are already doing so well academically in school, working hard on the field, off the field, on the court, off the court, whatever it may be. And we'll continue to celebrate you guys every year. And I hope you come back to do this for Anthony when he calls you. It's important. He's connecting people with people, trying to build those bonds, allowing people to have strong long-term relationships where you can help each other. It's huge. So congrats to everyone.
Scholarship winners, I'm doing you last, so sit tight. And there's a method to that madness. I'm going to ask Whitey to come up.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to see everybody out here supporting not only the young people, but the people who support young people. One thing I wanted to say, and unfortunately Tony left, but can the Dillon boys stand up again, please? The Dillon men. Because I'm 100% sure that the people that he saw working out at 9 a.m. this morning were these two. And one thing that Anthony didn't mention, but I want to mention is both, not only are they public safety, they're firefighters in the city, but they both, coming from Jefferson Park, not only got their bachelor's degrees, but also both recently attained their master's. So I want to give a round of applause. My guys. It is with pleasure that I get to introduce my friend, Lula Emanuel. And I wanna just say a little bit about her. Back in 2008, when I was starting a basketball league in North Cambridge, because there was a lot of violence in the city back and forth, and kids were getting shot. And we went to the city, and the city allowed us to do a late night basketball league. And it's something the kids actually asked for. When we went to the housing developments of the kids that were involved, they said, Whitey, we haven't had a basketball league in 6 years. We can't go to the other side of the city because there's always drama. So we were left without a basketball league in North Cambridge. Well, we got that going. Michelle Farnham, Paul Ryder, Bobby Goodwin, we had a lot of support in the city. And my people from the police department, my higher-ups also said, all right, let's give it a go. And we started the Night Court Basketball League. And one of the most important people to that league was Lula Emanuel. Lula's the type of person that if you say, like, alls I know, if I pick up the phone, I say to Lula, hey, there's this kid. She says, I'm in. She doesn't even wait for me to finish what I was going to say. But she says, I'm in. She's at every sporting event. She's at games. She'll go way out somewhere to support one kid on a team. That's important to her, that one kid. But she does it for teams. She does it in the city. She does it outside the city. And if you need help with a kid anywhere, actually anywhere, but especially in the city of Cambridge, I want to introduce my friend that will always pick up the phone and always answer that call and respond. My friend, Lula Emanuel.
Well, for starters, I'd like to say good morning to everybody. Thank you. Good morning. For those who may know me on a personal level, thank you for coming. For those who've been around the award ceremonies or Hope for the Holidays, which is a program that Galluccio and his family runs that supports families in need. I may be a familiar face, and to those who don't know me, I hope the brief explanation that Whitey has given you a bit of a background of me. For starters, I'd also like to say thank you to those of my family and friends who have came from near and far. Some had a busy week at work, some swapped shifts to be here today, so I'd like to say thank you as well. I'm honored to be recognized for this award. It's scary to say it's like nearly a decade now that I've been a part of just a lot of programs here in the city. For those I've been a part of and for those that I volunteered, just over those 10 years, I've been just like you recipients sitting in that seat. I won't be the first who gets recognized being a volunteer, but I won't be the last also. Mainly to say, just do what you can. Starting in this volunteer work or just being a part of the city, I never thought that this day would come. I don't think anybody does the work to get the accolades or the recognition to it. It's something that comes a part of it. And it's never too big or too small. White Night Court was 2008. I couldn't even tell you what I was doing or where I was, but I just know that whatever there was in the city, I was a part of it. You may not think I'm a shy person, but I'm quite the shy person. But it's never too big or too small. Don't feel like the work that you do, whether it's going back to baseball or going back to your basketball sports, graduation is fun, and then freshman year of college, it gets real. Don't turn away from your family, turn towards your family, turn towards your friends, turn towards your resources because they're always there to help, and turn to us. At some point, you've probably connected with somebody that's here on the stage. There's probably some people that you see here today that you may have not seen for years or you see all the time, and ask for help, similar to what Mr. Moses said. Somebody's always there to help and be a helping hand to you, and don't be ashamed. And summertime, be ready to work or to volunteer, and whether it's here in the city or wherever you go to school, it starts somewhere. It's never too big or too small. And on that note, I'll keep it short and sweet, but thank you to everybody who's been here today and who's came year after year, and a special thank you again to those who came to see me today.
Congratulations to all the honorees at the head table for their well-deserved recognition today. Please take a moment to read the bio on Sarah Roszler and her accomplishments on behalf of the North Cambridge Little Baseball League. It says that we work closely together, but Sarah's very slick. Her son plays for the Cubs majors that I coach with John Holland and Michael Bennett. And before the game starts, Sarah always has about 8 ideas going for the league. And she would say, well, what about this and this and this? And I, being a little curmudgeon, would say, well, did you think about this? Did you think about that? And she'd walk away. And then after the game, I would see her talking to our president, John Holland. And all of a sudden, those 5 ideas got reshaped a little bit. And John would say, those are great ideas. Let's move on them. So Sarah's pretty good about making sure she could get to the place to help the league, but also get to yes. The North Division, like the other 3 division, is very fortunate to have a large number of long-term coaches and volunteers who do tremendous work. And we've been in business for decades. However, in addition, it is important to make sure you have folks like Sarah join you as part of your team. Sarah brings a deep connection with families and friends in our neighborhood to make sure that they know that youth baseball is a fun option for their kids. Remember, not every parent played baseball as a kid, and it may not be a natural choice for their children. Because of her recruitment and outreach efforts, North has seen a significant increase in the number of players in our farm and junior league, which are our introductory programs to baseball. As noted in the bio, Sarah knows every kid's name in those programs and welcomes them as she helps pass out hats and shirts at the first game. In addition, Sarah has helped us communicate so much better with our league parents using TeamSnap. Sarah also spearheads our annual survey sent to our families to receive feedback in order to make improvements to our program the next year. So to close, and I guess John Holland wants you to come up here, please, too. John Holland, our league president. So to close with a quick story, we ended our season this Monday with our final minor league game, and Sarah was at the field with Michelle Carroll, another longtime coach of the Dodger Miners, and John Holland, our president, who's done a fantastic job this year in his first year as president of our league. And they said, it's too bad we couldn't do something to sort of end the season. And Sarah floated the idea, why don't we do a modified home run derby for the players, including parents and coaches? So they surveyed the parents at the field, and they said, gee, that sounds like a great idea. Sarah picked up her cell phone and contacted a few of the other parents in the league, and they thought it was a great idea. Well, the next morning, Tuesday, Sarah sent out a team snap invitation to the whole league and the coaches. And while she did this, she was coordinating pizza, prizes, music, PA announcing, and recruiting extra help for the event. On Wednesday night, we had almost 60 players, plus parents and coaches, for a modified home run derby. A good time was had by all. And I guess that's the example of what Sarah brings to our league. Sarah, thanks for providing the positive energy and hard work to make sure that the North Division continues to be an important part of the neighborhood while always recognizing the work of your fellow coaches and volunteers. Thank you.
Whether you're a player or a parent or a coach, I'm sure everybody in this room knows what it's like. You come to the end of your sports season and you just don't have a thought in your head anymore, let alone a speech. So your brain is completely empty. You've written a million emails. You've answered hundreds of questions about schedules, skill, who's eligible for what program. You've eaten a lifetime's allowance of cheese balls. You've heard Coach Rick Scheingold's stupid new material. You've heard his old freaking material 3 times. You've talked David Kale down from a ledge every day for the last 3 months before you get out of bed. So, as I was saying, you know what it's like to drag yourself across that sports season finish line at the end of your season. And that's the point where you say to yourself, man, I can't wait to do this again next year. That was awesome. And you think, I'm going to start working on stuff tomorrow because I think I know how we can make it even better next year. So a few years ago, I volunteered to be the team parent of the North Cambridge Minor Braves team. But David told me, no, I was not going to do that. Instead, I was the new player agent for North Cambridge baseball. I knew nothing about Little League baseball, and up to that point, I'd pretty successfully dodged all involvement in my kids' school and other activities. But little did I know that becoming an organizer of the NCLBL would bring me so much happiness. It's a joy to know so many kids in my neighborhood, and it's a privilege to watch them grow, both as baseball players and as people. It's wonderful to be connected to so many other parents and to feel like we all have a stake in each other's kids. And I think it's really scratched a creative itch for me to just throw new ideas out there like the home run derby every year and just see what works and what was a success. But above all, I think for all of us, it's a feeling of real meaning and purpose, of being useful to the people in your community and helping to bring them together. That's really what they call that's the stuff of life. So for these reasons, I can say that volunteering in North Cambridge baseball has substantively improved my life. And for this recognition, Anthony, I'm very thankful. But what I'm most thankful for, what I love the best about our league, are our coaches. The North Cambridge coaches are legends. So Joe Carroll, Tall Rick, Skinny Rick, Big Mike, Spike, Eddie Howlett, our league guru, Joe Regis, our president, John Holland, our unmatchable Billy McGaffigan and Laura, and our Mr. Megaphone, David Kale. These are the OGs. Thank you guys so much. I just want to say, what our amazing coaches may be lacking in teeth or in hair, they more than make up for in width and also in pure heart. Families of North Cambridge Baseball, love you all so much. This is the reason I'm doing this. I'm going to keep you in this game until you absolutely keel over at the field, or as David said, run over if you're run over by a bus. So I thank you for letting me be your biggest fan. And as Kale would say, peace, 10-4. See you at the field.
Sarah, thank you so much. No truer words. And I'm not good. This isn't a gender thing, but it is a little bit of an age thing. More and more folks that are stepping up to help our leagues are, as Sarah said, maybe weren't coaches. And I mean, not to like highlight it, but people like Louis and George Alexander don't know how to use a computer. So things like email, forget Instagram. That's not even up for discussion. But so the help that we're getting, I know Rachel Henke's here. It's Noah, even though he's actually older than me, he provided that help to me. But seriously, it's a big deal because we're living in a different world now. Gone are the days with landlines and paper schedules. Well, not in some leagues, but a lot of us have moved on. So thank you to all of you. David, I just want to say, David did tell me he had 3 paragraphs, so I thought that was good, but I didn't realize he read so slow. So David, thanks for taking up about a half hour. I've asked David to David's going to be doing my eulogy if I pass before him. If he does, just walk out in the middle of it. I give you my permission for that. I want to thank Jeff Pardo, who's an event sponsor, my brother-in-law. Thank you. I want to thank Aisha Wilson for being here.
So I got a text at 10 o'clock at night, Louis, from Gooch saying, can you just be short and sweet? So I have a few things. That's the old computer. Seriously, look up in your bios. This is about a young man who I got to know during COVID. Phil Rizutto is a West Cambridge Little League alum. I got to know Phil when he rejoined West Cambridge Little League as a Rockies coach, Farm League coach, minor league in charge, last but not least, vice president of the league. So thank you, Phil. Phil is a true pillar of this community. A beloved teacher, a passionate baseball coach, an ice cream store owner, Lizzie's, as you all know. Now we know why kids love him so much. Just kidding, Phil. His attention to detail is exemplary. I couldn't do a job without him. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet for him to come up. We're lucky to have Phil as a leader in this town, in our midst. So congratulations, Phil.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. As Bahij and Anthony mentioned, I'm a coach and administrator in West Cambridge Baseball. I want to thank my Rockies players and families, and my assistant coach and one of my best friends, Anthony Ducinardi, for being here to support me. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. Before I became a coach and administrator in the league, I was an assistant coach, an umpire, and a player in West Cambridge. So it's fair to say that West Cambridge baseball has been a big part of my life for a long time. I grew up a sports-obsessed kid in Cambridge, and some of my favorite memories were spent at the baseball diamond and at the hockey rink from my early childhood all through high school. And I know that those moments would not have been possible without the commitment of so many great volunteers who supported me and so many other kids in Cambridge throughout my life and theirs. I wanted to thank my family. Don't forget, young athletes, to thank your families for the support that they provide you. My parents made sure I got to every practice and game on time, so thank you for that and for indulging my love in sports from a young age. Thank you to my wife for allowing me to give so much of my time to the young people of Cambridge, and for at date night listening to questions about who should I pitch tomorrow? Who do you think I should start at the mound? Thank you, honey, my wife Casey. But I really want to thank all of the volunteer coaches in West Cambridge who have given so much time and so much of their efforts to making an incredible experience for so many kids like myself. Lou DiPasquale, thank you so much for coaching me in Bay State and for all of your years of coaching and all of your constructive criticism when I was umpiring. Thank you. Brendan Sullivan for his many years of coaching the Yankees. Anthony Galluccio for not only hosting this breakfast and coaching the Dodgers, but for all that you do for the youth of Cambridge. Anthony Cuccinardi Sr., my neighbor, always willing to stop as I'm walking my dog and talk about about league business. Mike Hoff, Rob Belkner, so many others. Bahij Bandar, my partner in crime. And of course, last but not least, my friendly rival, Scott Slater. One of these days, the Rockies are going to get the Cubs. One of these days, Scott, not this year. Thank you all, not only for supporting me as a player and as a coach, but for all that you do for the people of Cambridge. And the last thing I want to say is to the young athletes in the room right now, and that is that no matter where your careers take you, one of the most rewarding things you can do is to pass your skills, your knowledge, and your passion on to the next generation of athletes. And that's what makes this breakfast possible and what makes Cambridge a special community for sports. Thank you.
At this time, I want to recognize Nick Herbold. If any of you have gone out and seen Soccer Nights, what a production it is. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of young boys and young women experiencing trying out soccer for the first time. Youth soccer continues to grow every year. Nick has been a savior in the middle school program, a co-ed upper school league, 7th grade boys, and with his leadership, Cambridge Youth Soccer keeps growing. He's been doing this for 10 years, obviously a volunteer, and at this time we get to thank Nick Herbold for his contributions to youth sports in Cambridge. Nick, come on up.
I'm a software engineer by day, so this is very intimidating. I just wanted to leave, maybe offer three encouraging words to a very talented group of volunteers and young people. The first is for the young people, it's never too early to start volunteering and start coaching. My wife and I got pulled into soccer coaching. For the last 10 years, we've had parents come up to us on the sideline and say, hey, which one of those is yours? And we don't have kids in the program. And they're like, why are you here? And we're like, we really like soccer, and we think middle schoolers are hilarious. So I would just encourage the young people, whenever you get your shot, go out there and start coaching. My encouragement for all the experienced coaches and volunteers in the room is when you see a brand new volunteer, take a moment to give them a word of encouragement. My very first year, I showed up to the soccer training wide-eyed, not knowing what it would be like to work with middle schoolers, and I just had one of the experienced coaches come up to me. He asked me maybe like a half dozen questions, and then was like, hey, based on those answers, you're all set. You're going to be fine. Think of these two things as you head into your season, and it just gave me the confidence I needed. So if you've been coaching for a long time, I ask you to turn around and help that next generation of folks step in. And if you do happen to find your passion, I would encourage you to commit and keep showing up. Like it's been said, I've been doing this soccer thing for 10 years. Absolutely blessed to have an opportunity to do it with my wife. And you'd be amazed at what compound effort looks like over time. If you do it for a long time, you're going to have regrets. You're going to have terrible practices, some terrible seasons with the Ofer. Sorry about that. We don't know each other. But one of the beautiful things about showing up every year and investing in the community is you get to see those young people grow up and become leaders. That Soccer Nights program that was mentioned, it's a program that has over 300 participants. It has over 100 volunteers. And this year, it's being run by 2 alumni of the program. One alumni just graduated from high school, another from college. They're people that my wife and I met when they were 3rd graders and 6th graders, and it's going to be such a wonderful thing to see them out on the field. So, guys, thank you so much, and thank you so much for the time you spend in the community.
Next honoree, I'm going to start with the stuff that I know best, which is somebody who has been a selfless assistant to Cambridge Ridge and Latin basketball since I can remember, under Coach Doughton, now under Coach Gio. Humble, just low-key, helping with all the backroom stuff, sitting behind a head coach. It's not easy, but most of all, being an absolute great friend to the kids. I know it's why young men like AK come back and help, making it a welcoming environment. Matt has also started the Cambridge Basketball Lab at the Community Center in the Coast, which starts with mentoring and then comes basketball. So as we talk about and I know Kelvin stressed it, you're not getting into college with just sports. It's got to be grades, then sports. We have a special moment today. It's a little personal also for me because my dad died of colon cancer, which progressed to his liver. And Matt has taken on and beat cancer, which, as you know, we have a program. I spend a lot of time with kids with cancer in the Dominican Republic where we have a program. So for about a week, I'm zen-like when I come back from DR, and then I'm a jerk again, Rob. You know that. You got to catch me that week. But the fact that he took it on, I think that says it all. At this time, let's take a moment to recognize Matt Myersohn. Come on up.
I think I just have to start with how much I love this city. Getting to grow up in Cambridge isn't something that I understood how big a deal that was until I left and I realized how unique a place this really is. So for the last 20 plus years, I've had the opportunity to volunteer first under Lance and then under Gio in terms of the Cambridge boys basketball family. And a lot of teams throw out that word family at the ends. But it's different in Cambridge. It's the idea of the relationships that we've formed and created and fostered that are going to be there for the rest of our lives. And just the idea of, I think there's 10 or 15 of our former players here at breakfast. I really hope I didn't miss anybody coming in, but from Aiden and DeAndre and John and Sean and Harrison, and then our current crop and graduating seniors in terms of Isaiah and Zayden and Jeff, and Nick, who participated in Cambridge basketball as well, and Aiden. And I really think I got everyone. If not, be mad at me later. I deserve it. But just the idea of the relationships, and I hope each one of you know that anywhere you go in life, we're a phone call away. We're a text message away. Whatever you need, that's what Cambridge basketball is about. And it's one of the reasons I feel so fortunate to have been able to be a part of this program for so long. So 2 years ago, life kind of changed for me. And I went from never taking a sick day in my career to all of a sudden finding out that life was about to be a little different. And cancer was something that I didn't see coming. It came really out of nowhere, from really healthy, thinking I had an oblique strain, not understanding why I was feeling tired, to a 14 centimeter, that's about the size of a softball, sorry, no one uses metric, but surrounding my colon. And it went from there really quickly. And I'm a big quote guy, so when I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to go from that diagnosis to a few months later being in treatment, a couple surgeries later, but really being okay, and just the successful treatment I received and how lucky I am to be able to be here, it refocused what I wanted to do in life, and thinking about putting a career on pause and thinking back about how do I spend all of my time about this city that has given me so much. And that's really where Cambridge Basketball Lab came. And it was the idea that everybody deserves that opportunity to give back and to be a part of being the best version of yourself. And the idea that when we were growing up in the city in basketball, you could always go and play. And the way the city has changed, it isn't always easy to find a place to go and to work out. And Isaiah, I don't think I ever told you this, but a big inspiration for starting Cambridge Basketball Lab was a conversation we had where you asked, "Hey, coach, I want to go get shots up." And Drip, as a freshman, Isaiah, we call him Drip, his jump shot was really broken. Like, it spun sideways. It was the kind of thing where, and he knows it and owns it. And to his credit, instead of just being all right with that, he said, I want to go put the work in. I want to get better. And I was there. I was happy to. And we ended up finding an issue where we couldn't find a gym to go and get shots up. And I knew that wasn't right. and that we needed to change that and to fix that. And if we have a young man who's dedicated to himself to get better, that we needed to find a way to make sure that the space was never the limiting factor. And so with that in mind, we got to start Cambridge Basketball Lab, and it's a mentorship and basketball skill development program. Never games, never pickup, never one-on-one, just straight skill development for people who really want to be dedicated to getting better and improving. And to the city's credit, and to Gio and Vlad and Adam from the rec department, I came to them with an idea, and within a couple weeks, we had a gym space. And the support in terms of making it happen and thrive over the last year has been something that's meant the world to me. So a year later, 250 kids have come through, 4,800 workouts, somewhere around 9,000, 9,500 hours of mentorship, of basketball skill development, of our young people dedicating to themselves and to getting better. And got to hire 14 different coach mentors, many of whom are former players from Cambridge basketball, again, staying in the family. Lula comes over, sits at our kitchen table, helping to brainstorm and figure out how we can make this happen. And all of that is because of the village that is this city. And just so appreciative of that opportunity. Last thing I want to say is just thank you to my family. The idea that I can do this 5 nights a week means that my family needs to be really, really supportive. Both in the idea that, hey, I'm going to get over cancer treatment, and instead of going back to work, I'm going to work for free, and I'm gone every evening. And somehow that was okay. And just super appreciative of that. The last thing I want to say is to my son, who's here, who's a week shy of his 7th birthday. You inspire me by the energy that you bring every day, and I'm just so appreciative of getting to be your father, and I love you. So thank you all so much.
I want to bring up Michael Hoff. Ted Hoff is looking down on us today. Nobody put more time into Cambridge, West Cambridge Farm League, T-ball. I just saw a picture that I had way back, a video from 12 years ago from Facebook, and there's Ted Hoff running to go give out Oreos at Farm League. And then to really build up CYO basketball to be another option with Pride, which is an incredible local program, but to provide another option. So I want to have Michael Hoff up here to say a few words about Jim Sullivan.
As Anthony mentioned, St. Peter's CYO basketball is a major part of the winter sports scene here in Cambridge. My dad ran the program for 20 years. He revived it when my brother was in 5th grade, so that was a long time ago now. It's really blown up. We have over 100 people every year, boys and girls, grades 3 through 8. And it's really, it's a lot of fun. We have my favorite player here, the original Sam Hauser, Patrick Brennan. Shout out. But the last few years of my dad's life, it was a lot harder for him to outrun it. He had a lot going on with his health. And this guy stepped in. He really, and this is the best comment that I can give anyone, he really was just like my dad. Always had a smile on his face, never complained about anything, did anything you asked. We were so lucky to have him in our parish and in our community. So, Jim, thank you. Congratulations.
Well, I'm honored to be here and to be recognized. My wife and I moved to West Cambridge when we had our son Matthew, and we didn't know a lot of people in the area, and met a neighbor named John Lodge, and he's like, whatever you do, you got to do West Cambridge baseball. And he was so right. From there, we've met a lot of the families I see here today, and I met the Hoff family. Matthew's first coach in farm was Ted Hoff, and Ted was a very special person that we all got a lot of, positive energy from, and he gave so much to this community. So to work with Ted was a real pleasure, and CYO was just something that I loved doing. I got involved when Matthew was turning 3rd grade. I asked Ted, you guys don't have a 3rd, 4th grade team. Is there any way we could do it? And he's like, well, Jim, if you want to be a coach, you can do it. So, being a part of volunteering in Cambridge has really been, a joy. I think as volunteers, we probably get way more out of it than we give. I've met all my close friends in Cambridge through West Cambridge Little League and CYO basketball. And to see some of the alumni of CYO basketball here today and friends of my son Matthew's here, it's a special community. And I say thank you to West Cambridge Little League for getting me involved and doing what you've done for my family. And all I can say is thank you very much.
First off, I just wanted to say, when my dad moved here from Philadelphia like 25 or so years ago, just like Jim over here said, he didn't really know many people and stepped into a new world. But looking across this room today and seeing so many familiar faces just like makes me so appreciative of the job he's done and the connections he's made and the opportunity he gave me to live in this awesome, beautiful city with all these wonderful people. My dad met most of the people that I know today through Cambridge Youth Sports. Also, a quick shout out to Patty's in North Cambridge, Patty's Bar. That's where he met my mother. But between Cambridge Youth Baseball and CYO basketball as well is where we met most of the people that I know today and that are here in the room with us. So I just want to thank all of Cambridge Youth Sports and Anthony over here for putting this together. It's wonderful, and I think it's awesome that we take a moment to appreciate the ability that youth sports in Cambridge has to bring us together. Thank you. One more thing, sorry. When my dad passed in November, a lot of people have tried to reach out, and everyone's done so awesome in helping me through like a really tough time. But one person I wanted to thank in specific was Mike Hoff. Through Mike Hoff lost his dad in the summer as well. And he's been an awesome mentor to me. He went through it all before I did, but we're both still in the same process together. It's been within a year. He took me to play baseball every Tuesday morning and Saturday mornings at the MIT gym, and made me just such a better baseball player, but in general a better person, and helped me through a time that I really wouldn't wish on anybody. So Mike, thank you so much.
To be very brief, I just wanted to say thank you to every single person here in this room. I think seeing everybody here, hearing all your voices, hearing all your stories is a testament to a city that does keep people lifted up no matter what. And I just want to thank all of you for keeping my baby lifted up during a very, very difficult time. I feel very blessed that we are here in Cambridge, that Mike found Cambridge and brought us to it. And just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And hey, scholarship recipients, I hope some of what you've gotten out of today is, and this used to amaze me when I would visit kids when I was mayor, and young people would think that the road to any kind of success is perfect or easy and like you've always been successful. I guarantee you my road has not been perfect. Made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of setbacks, tried to get back up, reached out to people who could get me back up. Kelvin's story, Patrick's story. Don't assume when you see someone that you think has achieved something that they didn't get knocked in the face or haven't been knocked down, because I'm going to promise you they have. Jay White, know your story. So you're hearing today is what can lift us back up as community. Elizabeth, I got to just tell this one story. You guys know my mom. When we were at Hickey Funeral Home and my father died and I was 11, like all I wanted was, can you give the money in memoriam to West Cambridge Little League? I was in a fog, and somebody came through the line and said, I want you to know you're the man of the house. And my mother said, Anthony, we're going to go downstairs for a minute. She denies that this happened. It happened. We went downstairs in Hickey Funeral Home, and she said, you're not the man of this house. I am. And when these things happen, the one thing I try to say is like, let's just try to let that kid keep being a kid, and let's support them and being a kid and enjoying their childhood. Patrick, you know we're with you. You just keep being yourself, and you're going to be fine, my friend. At this, let's give them a round of applause. Plus, Kel, I didn't want to be man of the house anyway. I wanted to eat Doritos and watch Gilligan's Island. So, you don't remember that show. I want to have Louis DePasquale. This is it. We're coming down the home stretch here. I want to have Louis DePasquale come up. I want to thank all of you for donating to make the scholarships possible. I want Kara to come up, and I'm going to announce them. Hold the applause till the end. We're going to have I send these young folks a text message, right? And usually I'm like, I'm not Damon Smith, so don't think you can't show up at this, and don't think you can be late. And I'm vicious, like right out of the gate. And then they're like, who is this mental case that's like texting me, bullying me? And then I'm like, no, seriously, congratulations. You've been selected for a scholarship, but you have to be on a Zoom call, and you have to be here in person, or you're not getting the scholarship. Like, unless there's a dire emergency, we don't play. And first they're like, who is this man? And then ask someone about what we do. They all participated in the call. They're all here on time. And the reason we want you here in person is because it's not the money for the scholarship. It's about this network and the support we want to give you next year and the year after and the year after that. And that text message with my cell number, keep it, because it's been the same number for the last whatever cell phones came out. And I'll keep that number forever as long as I can, and I'll be there for you if you need me. Layla Muhammad, Nyla Calazzo, Jeffrey White, Janae Williams, Merhawi Hagdu, my favorite, Will Senchi Francois, Zayden Whitehead, Caesar, Damian Gonzalez, and DePasquale Awards, Shea Santos, and Nick Hunt.